feel like the music scene has just completely died. There's next to no gigs, and since all indoor gatherings have been limited, there's no income for musicians that rely on their gigs as income. So they're not buying new equipment and making new songs. So there's no circulation in the music business. I guess it's all stopped, and it's really heartbreaking.
It's had a really big strain on the music industry, a lot of industries.
We had to implement stuff like hand sanitizer and wipes to wipe down the pianos and make sure everything was nice and clean. But now that new restrictions have been placed, we've had to move our teaching online.
I've never had to even consider teaching online.
Something that I haven't done before, and you kind of have to adapt to the circumstances. It's kind of hard to really tell if the person is doing it the right way over the internet. You don't have like a full vision of it, and I guess it's even harder for students that are initiating now, because when you're a beginner you have literally no idea.
It's quite difficult, and I have to expect them to be able to find particular notes themselves without me being there to show them if they get stuck. Skype lessons or FaceTime, face-to-face conversation aspects, so that at least it feels like I'm still there even though I'm not. I have to now think of different ways to teach effectively online.
Students without their instruments have more or less stopped their lessons till they are able to get an instrument, or I had to adjust the curriculum, so like doing like music theory and rhythm dictation and stuff like that. But I mean, it's pretty hard to teach them music theory and rhythm dictation and stuff like that for more than a month, I guess. So like eventually they will still have to use the instrument. The students had to have like the right gear as well. So like some of them like didn't have a good internet connection. There was lag and stuff like that. Most of them have like stopped lessons for now.
Getting ready to gig, I had kind of told my other part-time job, which is Kmart, that I just needed less shifts there so I could focus more on rehearsing and university and things like that. I was preparing to move into the next chapter of my career, and then all of a sudden it just got shut down, and so now I don't have any part-time job. I have no source of income really. I was hoping to leave Kmart and pursue gigging weekly. We did pretty much rehearsals every week. We were working really hard on our set list. We haven't been able to perform anywhere. We had gigs lined up that got cancelled.
And any revenue that we may have been earning from those gigs, we don't earn anymore.
It sucks not being able to, perform in front of people at all.
It's very, very difficult to actually earn a consistent income and actually make a living off being involved in the music scene in Sydney. And with this coronavirus, it's turned what was difficult into something that's pretty much impossible.
A fatal blow to the industry in a way.
A number of people who depend on music or arts, the arts in general, the entertainment scene, people who depend on that for a living might be so disrupted by this event that they might have to veer off to find different sources of income, and at the end of this period they might not have the faith or the courage to come back to their art form.
I suppose it's a matter of now figuring out how do performing musicians earn a living when they can't perform for people in person.
The industry was already in decline due to lockout laws and the impacts of what the government was doing to the arts. But now COVID has absolutely obliterated everything that was left.
I get to keep my job because there's an alternative, but for many other people there aren't.
I know for those who can count on this being their primary source, there's so much stress, so much angst, so much concern going on. And that doesn't only stand for those who are musos, that stands for the technicians as well. Because when there's no gigs, they don't get paid either.
There's real quite fear and uncertainty now because we just don't know how long it's going to last for. where our next paycheck is going to come from, I guess.
Now it's a real worry because we have no options, so that weighs heavily on my mind.
They've taken away our ability to practice because we can't meet in groups. It's taken away our ability to perform because of those number restrictions now in venues. And it's taken away our performance opportunities because they've closed those venues, most of which are hospitality venues.
In the city, you could go in and see like all sorts of people busking and doing whatever. And now it's just kind of empty, deserted, like everyone's going to this backup job.
Very hard for us to look for opportunities, to do anything music related.
There's no income in the music at the moment.
The streaming services and so many other things online are for free. And so now that everyone's used to that, why would they want to pay? Especially now in this time of crisis where people are losing money. People haven't got an income anymore. People can't afford these things.
If everything kind of comes back down, will people still want to work in close quarters with people? Has it opened people's eyes to, what can really be out there?
Gigging, it's going to be hard because everyone is going to want a piece straight away, which isn't bad. It's just, it's going to be a long while before, we're all going to be able to perform in those venues again.
I don't know if things will go back to normal after this.
People willingly wanting to view those performances right after the virus has ended, that I'd say people would still be very cautious.
I think it will take a while before these companies and venues reach out because they will obviously be trying to compensate for the money they lost.
I hope that the government supports the arts in times like this because there'll be no arts to come back to after COVID at the rate we're going.
Our biggest challenge isn't now. The challenge will be when everything opens up again, to be able to, for the local community to support musicians and to bring back the music scene.
A lot of performers will of course be discouraged because performing is, what they primarily do.
This array of people within the same community are feeling the exact same way.
People need to stay strong.
We're all in this together.
I don't think we're going to be taking collaboration in person for granted anymore.
Never ever take our freedom for granted because, we are lucky enough to live in countries where we have the freedom to express ourselves and all that kind of stuff, but some people don't.
Now working from home has allowed me to get more time on practice, like also holding on my musicality.
Working in the planning, the conversations which are had now will be really important on the other side of COVID.
The spirit of the music industry is to fight tooth and nail for what we believe in and for what we want to do.
Being a musician is it's something that you wouldn't do unless you really loved it because it's hard.
Music's an art, and I'd say artists are the most passionate in the world, so spirit not broken.
The music industry will lose many musicians, songwriters, technicians, and other support personnel due to the crisis as these people become settled in more financially secure professions. There is always a chance that this talent is lost forever. The virus will change the face of live music, so we need your help. We need the local community to support musicians by liking and subscribing to their social media pages and sharing their content. Other ways to help include donating into a virtual tip jar if you see a live stream that you enjoy, or by buying merchandise. Let's band together and beat this thing while securing a music industry on the other side of COVID-19.